that basically helped him out. So you were probably in this.
Hey, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing? It's Frosty. It is Sunday morning. I hope everybody is doing well. Thanks for coming in and hanging out. You can see that I have Paula and Eric on the line. Good morning, Paula and Eric. How are you?
Good
Good
morning.
morning, Peachy Keen Jelly Bean.
We'll resume our conversation here in just a moment because it's a good conversation.
We're gonna take them down that rabbit hole, huh?
Well,
Not
but
that rabbit hole, of generalized rabbit hole.
generalized
Yeah,
rabbit hole, yeah.
generalize.
Um, Especially when it comes to social media. Jackalope, good morning. Kin of mine, good morning. Hello, Siren. Hope you're doing well. Thank you all for being here. Hope you all are doing well. So, today is kind of just a general chit chat day. We're going to talk about a couple things. We do have some things that we want to discuss, but overall, it's just kind of what do you want to talk about? So, if there's something that you want to talk about, or you found a really cool coin, or you want to send an email and you want us to have us look at something, fire away, please do so. Hey, good morning, Kevin. How you doing? Sloppy Stacks is in the
Well, I
house.
have a little update I wanted to say
Okay.
about those stupid ASEs with the star privy. I'm
Uh-oh.
leaning now more towards that they may actually be striking a million of those at the Philadelphia Mint towards
So,
the end of the year when who nobody freaking cares. But
did you hear
anyway,
So,
the conversation that SD Bullion had yesterday?
well, so that is the only reason I am leaning towards it
Yeah.
because the SD Bullion and somebody else had been talking about that they are actually going to be distributors of them.
Sunshine
So,
Mint. The other person that was on that
well,
group was Sunshine Mint.
bullion dealers, right?
Yeah.
Because we did talk about that they said they were going to only be available to the bulk dealers or whatever in monster boxes, but who here's here's my biggest problem. The way they are talking these up, they're telling people these are going to be the most popular ASE ever. Now, first of all, they are a bullion strike, and there's going to be like a million. So there's going to be apparently three different
so
privies
being
that
a
they're going to be doing.
Yep.
bullion strike, it won't say $1 on them anywhere.
Right. No, it will say $1, but the
Well, that
ASEs
was
are
my
our
question
bullion coins. The ASEs are our bullion coins.
because
So
I had heard Blue Ridge say that they start striking 2025 coins in November, and
yes,
I
they
thought it
do.
was constitutionally illegal to strike a what's called a uh, not a circulating coin, but a monetary coin before the date of like 20, January 1st, 2025. They start manufacturing 2025 coins.
So it's their, I think it's because of the way they do their calendar year or the way,
Well,
Are
they
they
might not
based off
consider it,
fiscal
even though
year?
it says $1. They might not
yeah,
consider it a $1 coin, even though you can take it to a store and get $1 for it.
yeah, it may be that too. I'm not sure, but I do know that they are already producing that. They do
Because they've got a
the
lot of other
ASCs do.
stuff that they can produce, like metals
But
and all that they can start producing.
The Philadelphia Mint didn't make any this year anyway. They're done at the West Point Mint and at San Francisco.
Coins making sense. They don't make sense. Nickels, dimes, quarters, half dollars until 2025. They won't start making 2025 quarters or coins. That's what my thought was, that being that these had $1 on them, that they would fall under that constitutional revision
And I
or
think that
provision.
they do strike them earlier than they say, but I don't know.
Maybe they do, but they're
But
not supposed to.
because I remember those 20, I remember somebody finding the 2019 W quarters before they were even released. They were an early release, and I can't remember who it was, but I
Well,
remember
I've
that
gotten
they
like
even got a special designation for that. But
2008 pennies. I can remember getting a roll of 2008 pennies like January
hmm
20th or 20. And it's like usually you don't see them until the middle of February.
right. But anyway, so my thing about the privy thing is they're making these at the end of 2024. They're going to be dated 2024. They're making they're minting these in Philadelphia at the end of 2024. They're going to be like 1 million mintage each, and these bullion distributors are touting them as like the biggest ASC ever.
Well,
Blah.
that's a
What about
marketing
the
ploy.
V75?
Yeah, exactly. They're
No, and
exactly.
that's just
And
marketing.
this is
That's
going
all
to
that
be a
was.
little stupid little star.
Yep. That
But like
comment by
that, what
SD
we're
Bullion
talking,
kind of set me off from them because it's like, look, there's some other really cool things that have been done with the ASCs.
And these are bullion coins.
Yeah.
These are bullion coins. So they are
so
not.
does that mean they're not
They're
going to be quality? They're going to just strike them until the dies
no,
wear
of
out?
course they're not going to be. I mean, they're going to be what the regular bullion ASCs are, and they're going to be only available to through the bulk dealers. Um, so and so the U.S. Mint is not going to be selling them. They are not going to be part of the collectible ASCs that we as collectors, not stackers or whatever, care about. We care about
Well,
those.
here's something.
They're not going to be one that's going to you're going to need for your album.
I
You
guess they
know.
couldn't do this. I was going to say, I don't know what the quality control's like. No, because you said they don't do any at the Philadelphia Mint anyway. So never
Mm-mm.
mind. Carry on.
Yeah.
I was going to say this could be the shit that hits the basket all year long, and they're just going to put a privy mark on it.
Well, that's what they're. I mean, they're so Philadelphia Mint still makes dies. Denver Mint does make its own dies, and Denver Mint also makes dies for San Francisco. So I'm not sure who makes the dies for West Point. I'm assuming it's probably
And
Philadelphia that
I
makes the dies
actually
for
think that
West
San
Point.
Francisco is making dies on like their CNC now, where they make doing
They
when you
could,
have short
yeah, with
runs.
the CNC, the way they're doing the CNC, they could be doing that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but anyway, these. Don't believe the hype with these. You are going to be able because they're saying that these are going to be selling for like a $10, $15 premium over
Now,
regular.
basically, any dealer that can buy a monster box can buy that, then, right?
No, only the ones that are bulk that are bulk dealers
And what do
that
they
are part
consider a
of the
bulk
bulk
dealer? I
program.
mean, because I know that there's a local coin shop here, and I know that he buys probably. Actually, I know two coin shops that buy 50 monster boxes a year,
Yeah, and he's part of the bulk program then.
and that's what I'm. And it's just
Yeah.
like it's a small shop, so that's what I'm wondering if they're going to get them too.
But these will be so these are going to be tied to a video game. That's for
Yeah.
sure. They're going to be tied to a video game. People are going to whether it's GTA, the new GTA, or Call of Duty. I'm not sure, but those both are coming new. They're new releases this year or whatever.
But this just goes to what I've been saying. It's so easy for them to put a privy mark on a die, mint a
Yeah,
million coins, and ship them in priority mailboxes all over the country to places to put into the general public.
and that's the thing is typically so there's more to even I mean you can put a privy mark on a die for sure if it doesn't go through all of the testing process and everything though you can have problems with strike because
Sure,
all any element you add to a die affects the way it strikes up
that's right.
or the way the coin strikes up. So who knows what's going to happen with this, right? And but what my point I'm trying to make that I'm taking you guys on the scenic route again is these are going to be released at the end of the year. Who knows when they will actually be available for the public to buy, if the public can even buy them. They may be something you can only get through these video games, winning them on the video games, because of course the game companies want you to buy their game.
Right.
So you may have to win them through these video games. I don't know. Um, they are not going to be something. I am sure that they are not going to be something that Whitman or Dansko or anybody are going to be adding to their albums that you have to finish your collection. Um, don't believe the hype. They will come up on eBay, and they will be for much less than I'm sure you would be able to get them from
Oh,
whatever. But
they'll be in 6 months' time. They'll probably be rolling around just around all the other ASCs, a little bit
yeah,
over melt.
the way they're talking these up is making me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Well, that happens with a lot of coins,
It's
to me, anyways.
marketing, but
Yeah.
they're I don't know. Yeah, so
Well, listening to the conversation that was being had by them, um, this was this was pure marketing. This was just them tout your themselves. Um,
yep.
I was like, because the first thing I sat here is it's like, hold on. There's some pretty cool ASCs out there. Um,
Yeah.
the V75, it's a $450 coin. If you are one of those that have it graded, um, you know, at proof 70, it's a very expensive coin.
But
Very
how many did
nicely
they make?
done.
Did
Say
they make a
again?
million of them? How many did they make?
No.
No,
So I'm saying
Yeah,
million's a lot of
450,000 or
coin.
something like that.
it is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It may not be a lot for the bullion coin. Who knows? I could care less how many of the bullion ASCs they make, but for any of the collectible ASCs, that's a high mintage. I think they only made, well, for the gold with the V75, didn't they only make like 1,000 or something, and then I think it was like 10,000 or something. I don't know. Kevin's in the chat; he could tell us, but I'm not. It is it. That's exactly it. That's what it all boils down to. Roxilla. It is a money grab, and it's yeah. These it just amazes me that they can when they said it was going to be one of the most, if not the most important ASE in the entire series. I was like, did really? Okay, but I will not be buying one. I don't. I probably will not ever
I want
own one.
I
I
want to
could
see
care less.
them. I want to see what's going on. I can fully expect that somebody's going to be throwing these out in a 3 set graded combination. I fully expect that.
Oh well,
Um,
of course, the grading companies will profit on
yeah,
it. Of course.
there's gonna it's just a money grab. Um, I am curious to see what's going on. But SD Bullion said very clearly that they weren't going to say what the total mintages were.
They
Um,
don't know yet.
yeah, and so
They don't
um,
know what it's going to even really look like. Nobody has even seen the finished coins. They don't know the exact date release. They don't know the mintage. They know nothing basically, but they're you know.
hey, so real quick,
I don't know.
I want to take a break. Dog World and you just dropped a $5 super chat, but I want everybody in chat to do me a favor. You guys know that I'm a really good friend with Tiger Stacker. Tiger Stacker's in ICU right now.
Oh no.
I have been trying to get a hold of him for a couple days. We've been so Dog World. Check your text messages. I just texted. You should have my number. Um, I called the hotel. We've been trying to find out what the hell's going on because Tiger and I talk about it every day. She just came in and let me know that he's in the ICU for 3 days. I know there was some diabetic issues that were going on. So if you guys could please do me a favor and keep Tiger in your prayers. Um, I have been kind of beside myself trying to figure out what's going on with my brother. So if you guys can please do that, let us, just take a minute, issue a prayer for him, and then, send him some kind words on his page. Go to his community page and just tell him that you're thinking and praying for him. And then again, Dog World's in here, so please do the same for her. I know she's probably beside herself as well. So we're talking in the portrait chat, and she just let me know all the information. So I'm going to be reaching out to her, but please keep both of them in your prayers. I'll get some more information, provide you guys updates, but he's good to our community. He's a really good guy, so please just keep
For
him in your
sure.
prayers. I'd appreciate it.
For sure.
And Dog World, check your text messages. See if you see one from me. And if you do, respond, and then I can keep chat with you that way. If you have another way for me to get a hold of you, then I will follow up afterwards. Here is the email. Reach out to me, let me know. But again, thank you, folks. I appreciate you letting me detract from this. I just wanted to make sure that we had the power of prayer is real. If you don't believe it, the power of prayer is
Yes, it
real.
is.
And so I got other people that I'll call and make sure that's done. But the other thing that's really important is when somebody goes through something like this, to have people standing behind you saying, "Hey, we heard you're there.
Yep.
Thinking about you, letting you know you're okay. If you have anything, take your time. You take care of you. We'll be here when you get back." Those kind of messages are reassuring to the soul. So please fire those over to Tiger. Let him know that, hey, put your channel on hold and deal with your health. And that's really important. So thank you for letting me detract from our conversation and derail that for a minute. But this is extremely important.
No. It is very important.
So
Much more important than anything I have to say.
yeah, and Dog World, thank you for coming in, because when you talk to somebody all the time, and for those of you who don't know, Tiger and I talk almost every day. We talk about strategies, we talk about investing, we talk about family, we talk about, he travels a lot. He's away from his family quite a bit. And so we talk quite a bit. We talk about the discussion of things and how we can do things and how we can grow each other's channels and different things we do. And of course, I'm his IT support. For anybody who knows Tiger knows that he's technologically challenged.
Just like somebody else we know.
Yeah. But so I have not been able to get a hold of him. So I've kind of been beside myself going, this is not normal. Called and talked to the hotel, and the hotel's like, the car's not here. And I'm like, well, monitor it. Let me know if it comes back. And they called me back, and they're like, the car's still not here. And I'm like,
I'm surprised they're giving you information like that.
Well, they understood what was going on. I pulled in a power that B. We'll not discuss that. I can talk about that later. But reached out to try to find out what was going. Couldn't find out any answers. Again, I couldn't call the hospital and ask. A hospital, they won't release any information. They won't even tell you somebody's there. But I wanted to check, explain to what was going on, and couldn't find anything. So, Dog World, thank you for coming in and letting me know that it doesn't ease the angst of my buddy being in the hospital, but at least I know where he's at. So,
yeah.
I know he wanted to take a little trip or do something over a couple of days, and last thing is for him to, get out there and have something happen and nobody knows what's going on. So I'm really glad that we know what's going on. So, but just check your text messages, see if you got the one from me. If you don't, then we'll reach out and I'll find another way to get a hold of you. And so that way you and I can chat. So, but anyway, let's get back to this.
Anyway, yeah, just if you guys want one of those, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know if you're even going to be able to purchase them or if they're just going to, obviously they're not coming out until next month or the month after. They're saying end of October, November-ish type. So like 2 months before the end of the year.
So
everybody wants to wait for their 2024 coins.
So I pulled up the 2023 U.S. Mint annual report and was looking at their minting and their reporting cycle. So the U.S. Mint, for their fiscal process, it is October 1st to September 31st. So they
Yeah.
do operate on a fiscal budgeting cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And depending upon when they're, so they'll allocate money for different sources. So depending upon when that is allocated, it falls under one of the years. So because that money fell in a 2024 fiscal year, they have to mint, even though it's after the fact. They still have to do that within that cycle because those dollars are earmarked for that cycle. So they have to get those done. They have to exhaust that money. They have to exhaust that resource.
It's
Federal
just funny to
financing,
me because
yeah, federal
we've had
financing's a mess.
they're always talking about how their releases that we've seen it in the past. Coins haven't been released because there's a silver shortage, or that blah 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 whatever. And they have all these new releases for 2025 that they're going to be minting, and 2026, and they're going to need those planchets. So it just surprises me that they're using them to mint this crap.
Somebody might have greased them pretty good. You never know.
Well, they had to have, right?
Yeah.
They had to
There's
have.
Well, and that's the thing in a
So
situation
my
like this, money talks, right? So
my hope
there's
for this,
yeah.
thinking about the positive, my hope for this, because I'm always all about bringing new people into the hobby. Perhaps we will get some new kids, or young adults, or even adults who play video games. Um, those 40-year olds that just sit at home and play video games all day. But um hopefully we will get some people into the hobby, because they'll win this coin or whatever and think, oh my gosh, I'm a millionaire because look, I've got this star privy.
And it's going to happen.
But the problem, then we go back to them talking this thing up, and people are going to think that they're worth more than they actually are. And when they find out they're not, then they may end up hating the hobby. So
that well, and see that's true because
it's a double
um
edged sword.
yeah, and you're going to see you're going to get somebody, and this happens, we have this happen all the time, even outside of that. Hey, good morning, Pedro. Even outside of that, where they're going to find this, they're going to see this really cool thing on some goofy QVC, whatever. This
Mm-hmm.
specialty run mint, we're going to drop this. I seen somebody talk earlier about the
You can
Trump
only
rounds that are
get
being sold
one.
for $100 an ounce,
Yeah.
right? Salivate Metal. I love Uncle Sal, and he was talking about this on his channel. It's like there's the opportunity for something like this to be very collectible, but it's also something that could be only collectible for a very short time. And you drop a ton of money on something now only to find out in 8, 9, 10 months it's only worth a little bit of money. What I'm really interested in finding out about this star privy is, and this is just my brain, this is not conjecture, this is not anything else. Is this an opportunity for the U.S. Mint to see if this is something they might consider doing in the future? Like, is this a trial run where somebody basically said, here's a couple million for you to run these? Um, could this be like a trial thing for the Mint? So when you're talking about the potential for some cool things to bring people into the hobby, maybe this will stem some stuff for the Mint to start doing things that the Royal Canadian Mint is doing, or
And
the
this is
Earth
just a
Mint, or
promo, like this Cheerios. Like I talked about it before, like the Cheerios, cent and dollar, and the payday nickel that they put out in the candy bars and the cereal boxes.
Payday Nickel.
This,
I
to
didn't know
me,
about that
I think
one.
that this is going to be much like that, only through a video game.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the Cheerio. A lot of people know about the Cheerio dollar, but don't know that there was a Cheerio cent. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
that,
but the
yeah,
difference in those is that, well, the Cheerios dollar, they used a, like a, oh my gosh. Anyway, they used a different reverse on some of them. A
Yeah,
pattern.
the
They
tail
used a
feather.
Yeah, the
pattern
pattern.
dye.
Yeah.
A pattern dye on some of them, but for the most part, it's just if it's not in the packaging, then you won't know the difference.
And that was
Um,
something that I learned fairly recently. I mean, it's been within the last 3 or 4 months that not all Cheerio
from
dollars
me,
had that cross-hatching pattern on the tail feathers.
yeah, I talked about that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
recently learned that. So that's something that's been
a lot of
around
people
for
don't
how
know
many
that.
years?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
You can actually, so you send your Cheerios dollar into the grading companies, and a lot of people believe that oh my gosh, it's going to come back with that cross hatching on the tail. But it doesn't always. But the grading company will still grade it as a Cheerios dollar with a regular reverse.
Yeah, and see, and
So,
I didn't even know. I mean, it makes sense, right?
hmm
They had that pattern on the back, and that cross-hatching pattern was a failure point for that die.
yeah, that's why they don't
Yeah.
know
So
they don't know the exact mintage of them
I
because
get
they're mixed in with the regular
uh,
reverse.
Homestead says the privy mark is better than the missing reed by far. Um, I can't argue that.
But it's different. I mean, the
It's
missing
different.
read is a security feature. But that's
Yeah,
another thing. How easy are these going to be for people to take their laser print, their laser engravers or whatever, and because my understanding is it's just going to be an incuse
kind of like a
star,
countersunk,
whatever, huh?
just like a countersunk design.
Yeah, like a counter stamp or whatever,
Yeah,
but it
it's
would be
crazy.
hard for somebody to counter stamp one without that being obvious because that would probably show up on the reverse.
Yeah.
But they could certainly take laser engravers and you know go to town and anyway. So we'll see. I'm I don't have a lot of positive thoughts about it, and
Yeah, I can see people now if it comes hold on. If it comes in a set, so let's say it comes with a game, I can see people wanting, especially if it's uh, GTA or something like that. I can definitely see people who are hardcore GTA advocates or gamers wanting to keep something like that. But I think Sean was talking about it the other day. It's going to be kind of like what the W quarter was. If I get $50 from it, that's another game, or that's money towards another game. I would rather have the other game than this goofy freaking dollar that I'm never going to be able to spend. Um, and a lot of people won't really understand the intrinsic value of it anyway. So I
no,
just
these kids are going to be selling them for
For
melt.
new games. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there are going to be people who are going to hold on to them or whatever and collect them, and that's fine. Just like the McDonald's Beanie Babies and whatever. But I don't know. I kind of I, as a collector, as a serious collector who loves this hobby, I just hate to see it go in this direction. I really do.
Well,
And I hate I and I just wonder why it's being kept so secret. Why there's nothing from the US Mint, why you know I don't know. Why we haven't heard anything from CCAC about it, why it's
Well, maybe
they
it's not set in stone yet. Maybe it's these people just saying to try to get public banter around to try to push their hand through.
well, and that was my thinking in the very beginning.
I don't think
Like
that's the case. And the
I
reason that
don't
I don't think
understand
that's
how
the
they can
case,
even do this without legislation. Like I don't even
Well, they could be
understand
a
how.
mint director saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to be no problem," I'm going to take care of it. It might not be taken care of.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
she only has so many things she can do on her own without going through Congress, without,
that's
there
right.
being. So
But
I'm
where
not
it's
sure.
but where it's not one of the business strike where it is a bullion coin. Is there
That's
more
the only thing
leverage?
I can think.
Is there more leverage for them? So, I
Well, non-monetary, I know for sure, like the metals and all that,
hi Jenny.
The metals
they
for
can strike
sure.
2026 metals in 2024 if they want
Yeah,
to get ahead of the
yeah,
game.
the metals for sure.
But
That
when
she
it
just.
says that there's a monetary value on the coin, there was another
Mhm,
government that had the same thing, and they were putting $5 and $2 on the coin, and they stopped doing it so they could start making coins whenever.
Hey,
mhm.
Ronald Shamley J, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you throwing that subscription up there. I
So
appreciate
that's what I'm saying. That was my issue. It says $1 on the coin. Technically, they need to start, according to the Constitution, they can't start minting them until January 1st. Do they do that? Nobody really knows except the
I'm
people
gonna go
minting the
grab some
coins.
coffee real quick. I'll be
it. Yeah,
right
no
back.
problem. Yeah, so
Uh,
again, when you look at this, I think there's a couple of different things here. Number one, Paula's like, I understand that people are going in. Happy birthday, Jenny. Actually, I have Jenny's real birthday on my phone. I documented that one. Um, I think that there's an opportunity to bring people in, but the question is there, are they really bringing them in for the hobby, or is it just one of those things where it's going to be the short time, short lived? Oh yeah, remember when they did this really cool thing?
right.
The reason that I say that I kind of lean towards that, now I'm in the same camp as Paula, but if you listened to if you listen to the verbiage that was stated, there was one thing that was said over and over again. It wasn't that, well, I can't really say this. It's like I'm not sure what I can and can't say about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And so
Very secret. I don't know.
that tells me that something's already been done. I think that it's kind of like, how far can I leak, or better to ask for forgiveness than for permission type thing. Um, but I don't necessarily think that this is trying to build up the community of people to say, hey, we really want this, we really want this, we really want this. I think it's already a done deal. Um, I think that this is going to be, because they didn't announce the Cheerios dollar thing until it came out. It just happened. Um, I remember getting from a Wheaties box. I remember getting a signed baseball. Open it up, and there was congratulations, you win. Um, there wasn't even a contest on the box. And so sometimes those things occur. Sometimes those things happen. But it didn't make me want to eat more Wheaties. It just made me want to look at all the cereal boxes for what other prizes could be in there. So I don't know that this is necessarily going to have a good connotation for our hobby. I think this is just going to be another one of these fads. And I'm also concerned. Hey, Jetmac, what's going on? I am also concerned about the fact that they're utilizing the hobby to further maybe another agenda, because that never has good connotation.
Yeah, red, silver. There's a couple. So Bullion Exchange and one other place has. It's basically the same article, um, but it has gone from 500,000 to 900,000 to 1 million since that was put out, and that article was put out, if you look, back in July. So this has been kind of an underground rumor type whatever since July.
Yeah. And
And now.
again, when looking at this documentation from the U.S. Mint, and again, it's based off their 2023 annual report, based off of funding. If they approve something in that fiscal year,
Mhm.
that money's earmarked. So they have to do it before the end of that particular calendar year. So that's already in that fiscal budget. It's already been paid for. Because remember that you have to use something. If the government is issued money for a specific service or entity, they have to execute that particular item on that year, even if that event happens a month or 2 months after. So it makes sense for them to have budgeted this on the 2024 fiscal calendar and then have budgeted money to that.
But why wait to the end of the year to do something like this?
So
That's just
there's
stupid.
okay. So when you're talking about federal funds, there's a couple different things that people have to realize.
I'm not talking about funding and all that. I'm talking about for collectors.
Like
well, who waits till the end of the year to buy?
But it's all tied to funding. It's all. I'll guarantee you, it's all tied to funding, because if the money's not there, that number's going to drop. So it's all going to be depending upon. So they're earmarked, and I can't remember. It's I believe it's called a UFR. It's unfunded request. And so what they'll do is they'll make a request based off of the projection of the amount of money that's had within a certain allocation. So if you have a budget of $100 million, and then at the end of the year you have, $85 million that are going to be loose.
All right, it is. It has on the U.S. Mint's website, I think.
Huh?
It says right here on the. This isn't the U.S. Mint's website, but I know I got sent here from the U.S. Mint's website.
Check Stacker. I think typically in Frostbyte can correct me if I'm wrong. Typically, I think more people chat in the landscape mode, even though sometimes the portrait has more viewers. I think the chat is easier in the landscape mode.
Yeah. So the reason that I do this is because there are some people that just like to have it on their phone when they're walking their dog or doing whatever. But some people like one view and some people don't. So I stream to both simultaneously so you can pick and choose. I always pin it in the top. But let's get back to, or driving. Yeah, it's another reason. Because we want everybody watching the stream while they're driving.
Yeah.
But getting back to fiscal year. So when you talk about, there's a thing called a UFR. It's an unfunded request. And so if you have something that you need because you have a certain budget, you have a certain allocation that you have to meet, based off of that allocation, you can put in a request for, let's say you have $100,000 left over and you want to take $85,000 and spend it on a product or a service or a good or some sort of whatever. You have to execute that, get that done, and get that approved in that fiscal year, and then execute it within a certain time frame. But it's being executed on the previous dollars. So I think most likely what probably happened is they were looking at the budget. This usually starts in April, usually when these UFRs start to get finalized. Usually by May or June, they have the semi-approvals done. Final approvals happen in July. They execute that money, do what needs to be done, and then they execute the actual service or good or product August, September, October, November. So most likely this is tied to a financial decision by the U.S. Mint to support this. It's probably done based off of unfunded results, based off of their budgeting strategy. We'll find out more when we get the 2024 annual report from the U.S. Mint, because it's all has to be listed. It's all public information. But at this point, they probably haven't done all the finalization of exactly how many are done and how much it's going to be there in production runs, how much it's going to cost, the essential overhead. They have to put all those things into place, get the final approval, and then start the process. So, but I'll lay wager that it's almost all tied to finances, and that's why they're issuing it at this particular time.
The initial news release for this was July 1st, 2024, and it says there's going to be 900,000 minted. 50,000 will be distributed through the online game mechanism.
That's the second article.
There's been a number of articles about this.
One of the articles says 500,000, one says 900,000, and then they were talking about it, and they were saying that it could be 1 million.
What up, Chappie?
Per privy.
And it's not it's just a MS coin. When they say bullion, that's what they mean. They're not going to be proof quality.
Yeah, it's just a business, a regular strike. They call it either business or regular strike.
It is literally the 2024 ASE with a little teeny star.
Yep.
at K3.
And they don't even well, that's supposedly
Yeah.
they're assuming that's where they're going to put it, which makes sense.
That
But
actually makes sense. That would be
yeah,
the best place to put a privy mark on almost any coin
right,
because that's a
right,
big open field.
right.
Red, silver, that blue package is going out, not coming in. It would be futile for me to open it. I know it's in there.
So yeah, I don't know. It's
Chappie and I are doing a trade.
oh nice.
He's got some goodies in there. But yeah, I'll lay wager that the timing for that all has to do with fiscal finance. Whenever you're talking about the U.S. government, you're talking about fiscal
Silly.
processes or something like that. Then
Well, see, you can see even in the marketing, the most striking feature of this new coin is the distinctive 5-part privy mark. It's a little teeny star.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, well, we
Not
know it's
very
going to be a star
striking at
privy,
all.
but again, like Paula was saying earlier, when it first came out, it was a 500,000 mintage. Then it was a 900,000 mintage.
Then it
Now
was
it's
a
been
million.
shown as a million.
Yeah.
So I don't.
And neither one of those is a low mintage.
No, because when you talk about the V75, that was what 250, 400,000.
Well, so are some of the
So
proofs and
yeah,
reverse proofs. So
yeah. So
they're they're lower than that. But one other thing I wanted to talk about was the CCAC, which you guys know as the Citizens Coinage Advisory Committee through the U.S. Mint.
not the
Is
grading company.
not the grading company. That's CAG or whatever. It's cat grading. CAGC. This is CCAC. LMNOP.
Right.
They are seeking um, a new person for their advisory board representing the public. So just no, I can't. It's a paid position. It is a federal job.
Yeah,
It is
we
a
know you
paid
can't.
position. I would do it, but I can't.
Where's
But
Jack?
so they but you have to have your application in no later than 5 p.m. on October 18th. So if it's something that you are interested in, you would like to have your voice heard about things like this that we're talking about and or other things, some of the designs and stuff like that, they're responsible for voting on that. Not that their word is ever the final say, because it's not, but they do have a lot of pull when it comes to stuff like this. Go to the US Mint website and I'm sure they have a downloadable application, or you can email info@ccac.gov. Attention, Jennifer Warren. So
That name sounds familiar. Why does
we
that
all
name
know
sound
who she
familiar?
is. Isn't that Pocahontas? Anyway.
That's Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, that's Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking.
Okay, that's who I was
Like, I know
thinking
that
of.
name.
Anyway,
What does that sound familiar?
not related to Pocahontas, Jennifer Warren. Info@ccac.gov. Jennifer Warren. Ay. I'm just going to be quiet. But I would love to see somebody we know get on there. And it cannot hurt to apply and see how that goes. But there you go. There you go.
The CCAC position, it's going to be speaking from a collector standpoint.
Collector and the general public, yes. What you would like, what you're representing us, the peons who can only sit and complain about what the U.S. Mint does because we have no say.
And it's kind of amazing that they're doing something like that. I was
Yeah,
amazed that
it
they were
is.
actually putting their meetings. I watched the first couple meetings. I have since quit watching them because watching paint dry seems to be more interesting. And I was disappointed with just how concerned everything they do to a coin. The first thing is, how does Homeland Security feel about them
Yes.
putting the date 2024 on the coin?
Right.
Like, well, it's the date, so yeah, go ahead and put it on the coin.
Yeah,
After
many
I
of
started
those
seeing,
people on that committee have no clue about coins or anything else. I'm not
yeah,
even sure why they're even
well,
they're
they
even
have to get
there.
approval, and it's probably something constitutional that says hey, you have to go through the intelligent community and approve any changes to the coins.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sure that it's laid out pretty.
because they literally said that. It was just like, yeah, we got to put the date 2024. Actually, they were talking about the design changes for the two to 2026.
Well,
or
there's
whatever.
several connotations with a 5 point star also
Star, yeah.
that people may. I'm sure there are going to be people
Yeah,
who
but
have
that's an
something to say
upside
about
down
that.
star.
Huh?
That's an upside down star that people take offense to.
I'm sure there's going to be people who are going to take offense
Um,
to it for whatever reason. So I'm
Well,
surprised that
but
there
no,
wasn't
that's not
discussion about
necessarily
that.
true. So a pentagram is not necessarily upside down.
Yeah.
well,
Um,
in the meaning of what offensive points to people,
yeah,
they're talking about witchcraft and stuff like that.
yeah, but
And that is an
a
upside
pentagram,
down
a pentagram
pentagram.
and a circle means something than an upside pentagram and a circle.
Right, but there's no circle on this.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but it'll be if it's marked in.
It looks
Um,
like they're planning on putting it in a circle.
yeah.
But
So there's going to be some. I'm sure there's some design elements that it could just
oh,
be
those
the
are the things that are
rendition.
typically
Yeah.
discussed in the CCAC
and
Yeah.
meetings,
that's
and
what I'm
I'm
saying. There should be
surprised.
a discussion about this coin in that meeting
And
of them
there's
adding.
not. I watch every single one of them.
Like I said, about the dates in the 2026 coin,
Hmm.
unless it's like 5 years ago and they already did it.
Yeah.
You know, you never know. But they were saying we want to put two dates on the coin, and that was it. How does
Did
Homeland Security feel? How does the FBI feel? How does this?
yeah.
And everybody was like, "It's fine. We're fine with putting the date on the coin."
Hmm.
So I'm
Yeah.
assuming that it's a procedural issue that whenever they change anything, they have to get the okay, so it's not what they consider offensive.
Yeah, the V75. Okay, the V75 was 75,000 mintage. There you go.
Oh, is that
That
all?
compared to 500,000 to a million.
Oh,
Exactly.
wow.
Oh yeah, it was very
The
low.
the V75 ASE was the very last trade I did with John Howe.
Hmm, nice.
Yep. Just not too long before he passed. Yep. So that thing definitely isn't going anywhere. But I didn't realize it was that low of a mintage.
And I'm going to suggest to people, if you have those and you have them graded in a 69 by PCGS or NGC, crack them out and send them to CC to CAC grading. Now I'm tongue tied with my C's.
So say that one more time.
CACG, because a lot of people have been sending in their 2023 2020 2021 Denver Morgan dollars that were graded 69 that are getting 70s through CAC grading.
Oh, I
That's
got one
something
that
that
I've
I'm
been
waiting for.
debating sending in.
So it's worth a shot, is all I'm saying.
So you're
Especially if you
saying,
still have all the original box and paperwork and
yep,
everything.
I still got all that. So you're saying that I should send in my
I'm
2021
not telling you
Denver?
what to do. I'm saying if it was mine, I would take a shot because they definitely are grading the Morgan dollars differently than the other grading companies. Now, the other grading companies had a bit of a and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm
They
just going
still
to
do.
say they had a reason. They had a reason to
There's
keep that.
always a reason, and that
Yeah,
goes back to the bulk grading discussion we had
CAC grading
yesterday.
doesn't have that reason. So
I truly think that they pop it. Like I say, looking at a bulk grading submissions, I've looked at like four of them now, and you'll be looking at these 66s and 67s, and you're just like, this 66 is a nicer coin than this 67.
yeah,
Then, of course, knowing a couple people that were actually graders, when
you
they
should have
tell you,
asked that guy that from.
when they actually tell you the procedure that they use,
Paula's
no
got jokes.
wonder
You
they're
should
basically
message
just,
that guy, Eric.
yeah, they basically just look at them and put them, look at them, 66, 66,
Flip a coin.
66,
Flip a
66, 66, because they've got to do like nearly 1,000 coins an hour.
coin. Yeah, they can't. You
I mean,
know
when they
what's
do a monster,
interesting?
they want you to do a monster box an hour, according to the one guy. And he says most people can't do a monster box an hour, but it's close. It takes it. So you're talking 10 seconds a coin, including them putting them in and out of the box.
And one thing that people don't understand, a lot of people don't, and I didn't until just recently. I'm not a grader. I tell people, don't ask me to grade your coin. I'm not going to do it because I'm not very good at it.
Yeah,
So, if you don't turn your coin to every single light, where
that's
it
right.
hits, you're going to miss marks because marks on the coin will appear and disappear at certain where light hits
That
it.
is
Yeah.
correct.
So if they
Just
don't
like the
take
die
that
variety.
time,
Die varieties are the same
yep,
way.
if
They
they
show
don't
up in
take that
different light.
time to turn it and really look at it through every angle, then, things
Yeah,
will disappear or appear. So,
that's absolutely right. And that's what I'm saying. When you look at it, they're grabbing that coin, they're looking at it under different light, flipping it over, looking at it different light, and they're saying this looks like this.
yeah.
And the reason I agree with that is because human nature is when we spend a lot of time looking at something, we start doubting ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So usually you say it on not just for grading coins, you say it on a lot of things. Uh, Usually your first impression's the right one.
Yeah.
You're usually spot on. When you look at a coin and that passes you and you go, oh my God, I've never seen
Yeah.
another coin like that in a million years.
Mm-hmm.
That coin's probably special. Uh,
And they're
so,
bulk grading too, so they're
right. And
looking at
that's
the
what I'm saying.
same date, same mint mark over and over and
Well,
over
no,
and over
you
and
can
over.
have different dates. Huh. You just have to
Well,
submit it in
that's
lots of
true.
50.
That is true. But I imagine they probably look at the same,
They
all the
do.
same date, and then they get those done, then they look at all the same date, and then they get those done.
You do when you put them in the roll. They're supposed to be
Yeah.
segregated by date, earliest to latest.
I just link and I
Yeah.
didn't.
So Pedro, again, for those of you who are look at coins, um, the light that you use will either help or hinder you.
Yep.
So positioning, always have your light set up in the same position. Um, Vote for Pedro's exactly right. Don't use the light on your scope, right? Have alternate lighting, something that allows to cast shadows and things like that so that you can actually see those items. Um, and then, rotate your coins. Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, I 99.9% of the time when I grade coins, I undergrade, which is not a bad thing. It's better than
No, it's
overgrading.
actually a
Yeah.
good thing.
But I'm just not. I'm good. I'm good up until about MS 67.
Well,
I was saying I'm only good about 63, 64.
Go to 67.
Yeah, I'm not.
After
I'm not.
that, they want you to know that the coin's higher than that. In like, here's the thing: grading Washington quarters. Almost everybody I know that grades a Washington quarter puts a numerical grade on it and subtracts one.
And I cannot go to a coin show or something and just pick up like a Morgan dollar and grade. I have to do
I can't.
research on it to see if that's a date that is known for like weak strikes,
That is
or
the
I
key.
don't know that stuff by heart. So
Like the
that's
certain
an
dates
important part of grading.
are struck differently, and the
Yeah.
grading services definitely take that into consideration
Yeah.
in their grading.
And I don't know that stuff, so I can't be real accurate when it comes to that stuff unless I have a reference where I can go look dates up and look.
I mean, the only
So,
things I'm pretty good at dimes, I'm pretty good at nickels, I'm pretty good at Lincoln cents. I'm not great at any of them.
Mm,
Uh, I'm probably the best at nickels, but I don't even bother with them unless they have full steps. And getting a full step nickel in the 50s and 60s is like not that common.
yeah, I
And
think
if you do
nickels are
get them, you get
probably.
a plethora of them. It's because they're like brand new dies, first strike, early
Hmm.
die state.
Yeah.
Where the silver uh, ward nickels, very common to get full steps.
Yeah.
Well, a great example of this, and Eric, you talk about this all the time when you're talking about different coins. You talk about Lincoln cents, and you talk about the value in them. Um, if you take a 1926 MS-67 red, that's going to fetch an extremely high price point in respect to a 1921 or 1919.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. You get a 26S.
yeah,
I don't think there even is one in 67. If there is, it'll be the most valuable coin in the series.
yeah,
And everybody would say, oh, 1909. Even though I think there's a 68 1909 that's in the hundred thousands now. Let me look real quick. But 26S, they use the die so long that the reverse is always just, uh, it's not good. It's smashed up.
Mhm.
Let's see, 1909S VDB with red. There's a 67 now, and I remember seeing that coin. Before there was no 67, there was only a 66, and we saw that coin at the fun show in January because that's where it got the 67 designation. And
right.
then there was 26S. Let's see if there's a. I think there's only a 65 in that.
Gremlin, good day.
But
Hope you're well.
26S, that used to be the most valuable coin. And there's only a 65, and it's 120,000. So if you got a 67 on 26S, it would probably be worth about 250,000 bucks.
Yeah, so it's really important to understand the dates, and I only know that one because Eric and I have talked about it probably 100,000 times.
Yeah, I mean, well, you
Um,
look at it, it's a coin that there's a lot of them, but there's not a lot of high grade. So you can get an MS-60, and there's a lot of them because the reverse looks like mush. You can look at a picture of, I want to say it's on copper coins. It might be a 25S. It's a beautiful BU coin, but the reverse looks like it's totally circulated because they use the reverse die so much. It's just a figment of its past self.
yeah, I've got. I'm going to switch the screens here just a second, so you guys won't see this, but I have it up on the other. This is exactly what we're talking about. So here's the 1926S. For those of you who are in portrait, it's going to be above me, and the other ones you're going to see it in the main screen. If you look at the reverse of this, you'll see that it's worn. This example is this is a 65. It doesn't look like it.
That's a 65 brown.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it. But because of how bad the dies were, they do take that into consideration when grading. And so, just because you can look at one coin and you're like, oh my God, how did this grade at 63? And then the next one graded at 65. 65 is way nicer strike. People go, that would you expect that? But this is one. There's another. Oh, what's the other one Chuck was talking about? Is it a dime? There's a
I'm not
dime that
sure.
follows the same thing. I'll have to ask him. I don't remember.
There are
Um,
dimes in the um, early 80s. Well, I guess through all of the 80s that are notorious for like die sinking.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
trying
yeah.
to,
Well, there's a lot of coins in the mid 80s
yeah,
that
I'm
get
trying to
that.
think of, but
yeah, I can't remember what he was talking about,
and
but he
that
was
is
referencing
they
this.
they take that into consideration when they're
Yeah,
grading
and he
the
was
coins.
referencing the fact that if you find a really nice, and it might have been the 80s, I can't remember, but so that's
Oh, 82
extremely.
and 83 on quarters, or really
Nickels
any,
and dimes, yeah, and anything.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they didn't put any mint sets out that year. So all you have is just circulated, circulated to pick from. So any those, yeah, those are tough to get in higher grades for sure.
Yeah, so it's really
Actually, late
important to
70s,
understand
early
the
late
years.
70s are tough. There's a lot of $1,000
It
coins in
is
those days.
frostbite. It's very important. And with any coin, it's important to know the series when you're grading them because
And that doesn't take away from the grade, like the
mm-mm.
basoning and stuff like that. It does, but it
Yeah,
doesn't take away.
basing. Thank you. Oh gosh,
It takes away from the eye appeal.
it does. But
But they grade the coin the same way as far as the gross. I don't know
Mhm.
if I'm using the right word. The gross grade, and then it
Mhm.
loses a little bit on eye appeal.
Technical grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dimes in the 70s that you get 67. It's a $2,000 to $5,000 coin.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
this is why
So
it's extremely important when you're searching coins, whether you're looking to grade, whether you're looking at whatever, that you have good, reliable resources and you have them open and you're using them.
And know the design of the coin. That's
Yeah.
why I say
yeah.
I'm decent at pennies, nickels, and dimes, and it's because I've looked at a plethora of them.
And this
I mean,
comes when looking at counterfeits too, understanding those die markers, understanding what's there. Like this is one reason where, for a long time, and Paula and I have talked about this a number of times. I really wanted to learn about counterfeits. I absolutely love counterfeit coins. I like understanding the premise behind them and what people did and what makes a good counterfeit and why, how to determine, how to decide. Um, and I really wanted to go down that path. And I realized I just don't have the resources. Now I can learn. I just don't have the resources available to me. But there are certain people like, I've got the Henning Nickel book and Joe Cronin and Jack Young and uh, what's
Riley. Jack
Riley. Thank
Riley.
you, Jack Riley. Um, that are brilliant when it comes to information like that and looking at um, those types of things. Thanks, babe. She just brought me a new coffee.
Thanks,
That's
babe.
awesome. She just brought me coffee. You have
What
to
a
say thanks.
sweetie.
Um, and it's like I I don't have the time and the resources to learn what they're already experts in. Right. So I'm
and
going to be looking at
ultimately,
a coin. I'm immediately going to be pulling up their resources and
time is
going,
the best teacher
Yep.
in this hobby. You
Because
put your
things
time in, you
change.
learn. Yep. You put
Things
your time in,
change.
you learn.
Yep.
so again, one thing that it's really important. You guys hear me say this all the time. I am way more concerned that you guys vote for Pedro. Bin cup of coffee. My wife makes a mean cup of coffee. Um, but it's really important that you understand your resources. And just because somebody did a research article 40 years ago doesn't make them an expert. You want people who, and this is why I love working with Paula.
Me?
Well, you are always looking and reading, and
I am always looking and
I
reading.
hear Jack Young, and folks, when it comes to coins, I I know what I know because I read a lot. I talk to a lot of people,
What
but I'm not the expert, not
what
even
he does with
at
eBay?
all.
Oh,
Right? When it comes to coins, if it's cents, I'm going to Chuck. I'm going to Eric. If it's uh, numismania, I'm probably going to go to her. If we're talking
Numismania.
2 cents, what is it
What
called?
is that?
Exonumia. I'm sorry, exonumia.
Exonuia.
Um, if it's,
Numismania. We all
I'm
have that.
sorry, yeah, I went a little bit side nuts. If I'm looking at 2 or 3 cent pieces, I'm going to Shea, right? And so if I'm looking at Morgan's or if I'm looking at stuff like that, there are people that I will go to. If I'm hitting currency, I'm hitting Kingdom Currency. I'm hitting Sean. I'm hitting Shannon's really coming into his own with learning a lot about currency. So I want to understand who the resources are and be able to use those. That's more important to me than becoming the expert. Um, what I like to do is I like to tell the stories, right? So get the history, but you have to have resources to find those. So, but whenever you're looking, whenever you're searching, whenever you're evaluating a coin, whenever you're trying to grade something, have your resources available and, frequently look at what's out there and what's new. That it really does matter.
Yep.
I have a well circulated man, I cannot speak. I need another cup of coffee.
Where's the other one?
I have a well-circulated 1880 $2.50 quarter eagle that's made of brass. I suspect it was gold-plated in the 1880s when it was made, but it's long since lost the plating.
Probably.
Interesting.
Probably. Most most older counterfeits, I guess they call them contemporary counterfeits. Most older counterfeits were actually counterfeited most frequently within a couple years of them first coming out, as opposed to like the ones that we see now that are coming out on Wish and stuff like that. Because we really don't have any modern coins that anybody gives a crap about
I
counterfeiting.
would love a statistic to know how many people are way overpaying. I mean, you can go on some of these. It's not Wish, it's like Alibaba, and you can buy some of these counterfeit coin sets, and they tell
Hmm.
you they're counterfeit coins. They're
Yeah.
not. They're made in China, so there's no copy mark on them. But they tell you
Some
that
of
they're
them will even
counterfeit.
show copy on them, but when you get them, they don't have copy, like that one that 21D.
Right. There's a lot of them
Hmm.
Or the
that you can get the
58S.
whole set
Hmm.
for literally like $35.
Yep.
Uh, and that's what a lot of these people are doing. And then they're trying to sell them on eBay. That's what I was saying. I don't know. Every day I get up and you look with the fakes with fakes or whatever Jack Young's group is.
Fun with fakes.
Fun with fakes. Yeah. And it's like I did this to eBay. I couldn't do it. I would be like, after about a week, I would be, that's way too much. It takes way too much time out of my day.
All day, every day. Isn't it incredible?
And then the people, all they do is just relist it.
Yep.
So they're still
That's
getting through the
right.
cracks. You can only look at so much eBay.
Yep.
Uh, and that goes, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah.
You know, you see a coin that has a mintage of 5,000, and
But
I'm not
here's
any
the thing about
but
that.
you see 400 of them on eBay.
Hmm.
Those are
They're,
warriors for our hobby.
Oh,
yeah, well,
they're
that's
doing
over and
God's
above
work.
warrior status because
Well, but
uh,
that's
They're
they're
doing God's
dedicated to their craft, you know. And when you look at the people who impacted change. So there's a saying, and I've used this a lot in the past, and I didn't understand it until about 5 or 6 years ago. I can't change the world. A lot of people say, "I'm going to change the world." I can't change the world.
you change the world every
But
day. You just don't
well,
realize it because the change you make is not
let me
monumental.
let me finish my quote.
Okay, sorry.
If I
Yeah,
can
Eric,
change,
shut up.
but if I can change the world for one person, right? And so the quote was about a starfish
A what?
and a starfish.
Oh, starfish.
And there was a mom and dad walking along with a young girl, and there were hundreds of thousands of starfish sitting on, I believe it was up in the Oregon coast. And this girl reached down and she grabbed one and she threw it in the water. And the mother said, "Don't do that. There's so many of them, you can't make a difference." And the girl looked at her mom and said, "I made a difference for that one."
There you
Well,
go.
or the sea bass that was sitting right at the shore waiting for the starfish to come into the water.
Right? Do they eat those?
I don't
See,
know. I was
well,
just saying.
but
Like the sea turtles. Everybody
the
goes, I put a sea turtle in, and it's just like, well, one out of like 10,000 survive. The rest of them are gobbled up by fish.
Yeah.
yeah, the
I love that
parrotfish will eat like urchins and stuff like that, right? So there are fish that prey on those types of things. But when you're looking at making a difference, sometimes it's making a difference for the one person. So there are people in this hobby who have made a difference in my life, just by being kind, and when I make a mistake, saying, "Hey, good information, wrong way to do it." One of the nicest ass chewings I ever got in my life was by a man named Sean Murphy. I had, and this was when I was working with the Air Force. there was a memo that came out. Paula's going to laugh about this. I think you've heard this story, maybe. There was a memo that came out when I first got on there about the staff were going to be laid off. I'd only been working with the Air Force for a couple months, and they said the staff was going to be laid off. They were doing what's called sequestration. A lot of you remember 2012 and what happened. Federal government shut down. It was a big to-do. They couldn't come to budget resolution, and sequestration, which is a federal law, became part of it. And the 4-star that sent out the memo said, if you have any questions, reach out to me or the chief. The chief is the senior enlisted, that just like with him, senior officer, their role is to govern and mandate and do whatever. Well, I had come from corporate America, where if the COO or the CEO says, I want you to reach out to me and let me know if there's an issue, they meant it. The military is a little bit different because you have a chain of command and things of that nature. Well, not being privy to the fact that, oh yeah, don't forget you're working for a military organization now, I responded to that email and sent a message to the chief of the Air Force, as well as the senior enlisted and my boss, and said, thank you very much for doing this. These are some of the things that I'm hearing, seeing in the media. I appreciate the kindness and the gratitude, but you're not supposed to do that. And so my boss came over and he sat down next to me and he's like, great message, wrong way to do it. And very sternly gave me basically a butt whooping and chewed my tail in the most kind, polite manner. And when I left, I knew what I had done wrong, but I didn't feel bad about doing it. And it wasn't because I was like, man, whatever. It was because he helped me understand and guided me to a better answer. There are people in this community that have done that for me in coin collecting when it comes to the hobby. Paula, Amanda, Ida, Eric, Chuck, Sean, Silver Seeker. There's a number of people who have come alongside Coin Crew. When I first came up, they picked me up and walked with me and said, hey, there's things you want to watch for in this community. I say all of that because, again, sometimes we feel like I just can't make a difference. Jack Young, Jack Riley, Joe Cronin, these are just a few names. Chuck, right? He's a hardcore proponent about making sure people are educated. Live Coin Q&A. Really have a desire to help that one person. Not only in helping them identify what's wrong, but really celebrate with them when something is found. And so when we talk about, and I use the warrior in Jack's defense, or in Jack's edge, it's really important to understand that he loves the hobby and he has a mission. And he's going to change the world for a number of people because he's trying to do it one coin at a time. And so it's really easy to go, oh yeah, that guy does a lot with this, and discount it. But it's people like that that genuinely have a huge impact on our community. And if you don't know who Jack Young is, you don't know who Jack Riley is, you don't know who Joe Cronin is, do a little bit of research and jump on Coin Q&A every once in a while and go check out when those people are talking, or they're talking about articles, or where they're sharing information. Because if you're really interested in this hobby and you really want to know how to identify something that's fake, or you start seeing a coin and they come out and they say, hey, beware of this, right? This is a ploy. These are the people in our hobby that we need to be supporting, because they're genuinely making a difference in the hobby as a whole. So take time when you see them in chat to thank them for the work that they do, because sometimes it's a thankless job and they bust their butt to do it. So, hey, freaking awesome. Good morning, brother. So sorry to go on a little bit of a personal rant, but I think I listen to some of the stuff that these guys do and go, man, they just don't necessarily get the recognition for all the hard work that they do. This is why I'm so adamant about um, promoting, you and Amanda and stuff like that in the hobby because of the work that you guys do. You guys always impress the hell out of me.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret. A big reason why I do this is because it gives me purpose. Um, I do feel like people appreciate me. I have learned. We've talked about this before we went live. I've learned over the years that the 50 people that don't appreciate the answers that I give them don't matter. It's the one person that does.
There you go.
Have
So
you ever heard?
and it
Sorry.
was a hard lesson to learn. I get my feelings hurt very easy, but I have that part of what I learned is that coins don't have feelings. So I have I have learned to separate my brain um, to where now I understand that when I give somebody an answer, I'm not answering them. I'm telling them about the coin.
Right.
Now they may not be able to separate the two, but hopefully they do and they understand that my answer is nothing personal. It's strictly about the coin. Um, but I a lot of you guys know I'm a disabled vet. For many years after I was injured, and I'm not going to go into why because I just don't talk about that, but or how. For many years after I came home and I was no longer in the military, wasn't able to do what I loved, I felt like I had no purpose. And I found coins completely by accident. And then I found out that I can't afford the coins that I want to collect.
Isn't that
So,
everybody's problem though?
yeah. So I have a champagne taste on a beer budget.
I love that
So I
song.
started buying books and reading books and educating myself and learning all about these amazing coins and then these error coins that were like puzzles that I just couldn't get enough of. So I immersed myself in the education part, and that's what I do now, and that's I found purpose again. And it makes me happy, and I love it, and I love being able to help people.
There's a number of people in this hobby who are recovering drug and alcohol users. There are
And I am
people,
an alcoholic,
yeah,
but
It's a good
I
substitute.
yeah.
it is,
But there's a
but
lot of
I
people
mean,
who suffer PTSD, and looking
that's
through coins is calming. I talk
oh,
to
that
people
is
all
very
the
calming.
time. There's a couple people. One first came in, talked with him quite a bit. I haven't talked to him for a while. I need to check in on him. His name was Anxious Stacker, and he had a lot of different issues that he was facing and overcame some addictions and overcame some
Water.
PTSD by getting involved in first looking at coins and then connecting into the stacking community and really taking off with that community and plugging in and connecting with that. And again, this is where, and I talked about this yesterday when we were having the conversation, and this is community, right?
Hmm.
This is what our community is about. It's connecting with people who have some similarity of likeness. And we come from all walks of life. And despite our own personal thoughts, we get along. We talk about different things. We come together on things that we can agree on. Many of us have discussions where we can agree to disagree. Sometimes we get fights, and sometimes we get really mad at people and, remove them only to friend them back up again in a couple of days.
Well, there
These,
are those people that are just jerks.
well, yeah,
I
but,
think they do it on purpose. I truly do.
Yes.
Huh?
The Facebook people, I think they do that just because they love doing it.
Oh, there are definitely those people.
Yeah.
There
Well,
are
I mean,
definitely those people
there are
that
people
are
who
just
just want to
bored.
see the world burn, right?
It's true. That is
But
true.
one of my favorite, and I love Keanu Reeves. Keanu
They're
Reeves.
miserable people and they want to bring you down with them.
Yeah,
That's what
I
it
love
is.
Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves as an actor, as a person, he's very quiet, very kind, very gracious. And he was talking to somebody about, well, what happens when somebody talks negative about you? And he's like, there's 7 or 8 billion people in the world. And when they tell me they don't like me, it's a gift. Because that means that I can focus on the 7,999,999 million, whatever, other people. And that's just one thing I don't have to focus on.
Yeah.
And I just know they have done me a service. And it's hard to think that way. It's hard to look at somebody that is always, spouting whatever and go, you know what? You've helped me out. I don't have to worry about you. I don't have to focus on you.
Yeah.
And I can go back through and I can look at chat. I can see, tons of people telling Paula that they appreciate her.
Well, I appreciate all of you guys because you guys are the ones that gave me purpose.
And some people say that they put up with Eric. That's really nice.
Well, the purpose
I love Eric.
I'm just kidding, Eric.
I love him.
Um,
I love him.
Paula sounds like you need a bouncer when the customers get upset on Pawn Stars. Their treasure turns out to be treasure.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've gotten really, really good at making people cry.
That's right. You are good at the Facebook thing.
I'm not really bragging about that. That was a defense mechanism that I learned a lot of that from Chuck.
What, crying?
No, about how to, and it comes with getting more knowledge. Like you can educate somebody so much that it kind of makes them want to bury their head in the sand.
Yeah, or send you wicked pictures.
Yeah, I do get that.
They do too.
I get naked pictures, but that's okay. I just point and laugh now. But but I do every once in a while, and if you guys watch our show, you'll see every once in a while I'll bring up somebody that just it takes a lot, but after a certain point, I will play with them. I'll play a little bit with them, and because they've earned it, they have earned it. A lot of people will say, why do you bother? Why do you engage with them and stuff? Because they have earned it. And it's not a good thing. You don't want to earn that with me.
Yeah, see, I can't do that. I end up saying something I regret. It makes me feel bad. It probably doesn't make them feel bad at all.
No, I will take the opportunity, because the thing is that person, I may be wasting my time with that person, but there are 20 other people reading that thread.
Yeah.
That are going to learn something. I'll be
darned.
That
one thread we were talking about.
They are going to learn something.
A lot of people had to learn a lot out of that thread.
Yep. If they read the comments.
They looked at the pictures. I mean, there was photographic proof.
Mm-hmm. And that was awesome. I'm so glad Chuck went back and did that, because at that point, it's no longer, and you'll notice that person who was arguing deleted their comments because they realized how stupid they were being. And Chuck put them in their place without even knowing that he did.
Right.
But everybody else in that thread learned a ton
about
by what he posted.
That's right. I agree.
So I'm not rude to them. I really am not rude to them anymore. But what I do is I take that opportunity to make them feel kind of silly by educating them on things that they didn't even know they needed to be educated. And whether they learned something or not, I no longer care. It's everybody else in that post that is learning a ton.
Yep. Well, you just were persistent. It's a fake.
Yeah.
It's a fake. Mm-hmm. And you didn't go on to anything else after your first explanation. And that See, I couldn't have did that. After the fourth or fifth one, I would have just walked away and said, these guys can all, whatever. I'm not even
Yeah.
going to go there.
Like that's the thing, Eric. You have to remember there's 20, 30, 40, sometimes 100 other people in that
And
reading that post.
I am super level headed. I
Yeah.
don't get angry easy, but I don't like the feeling I get when I start to get angry. So that's why I
No,
always
I
back
know.
off.
I know.
I'm just not that kind of person.
It's not for everybody.
Well, I was angry when I was young, and now I'm a pacifist.
Yeah.
So
I used to be like that too. Believe me, if you talk to Amanda and Shay and everybody else that has seen me through my entire process, I it would I it would affect me like physically
yeah.
sometimes.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
would cry. I would get so upset. Why can't I get through to these people? Why can't, I would obsess on it. And I
I
don't do that anymore.
I
I
look at so many coins because of the engagement it gives my brain. It doesn't let my brain drift off to do stupid stuff.
Yeah,
Literally.
I just don't. I put them completely on the back burner and real and then at that point it's no longer about them. But they're going to feel it
Sure.
because they're going to end up feeling really silly by the time I'm done.
Well, they should
Yeah,
because not only should they feel silly, they look silly.
exactly.
That's the biggest part, and
Everybody
they
else
don't
in
get
that
that.
post is going to know how silly that person is
Yeah.
by the time I'm done. So that's how I play with them. I make it no longer about them. And I make it about everybody else in that post that wants to learn, that's
And that's
gonna
with
learn
coins,
something.
that's what it's all about
Right.
is the whole community. I bounce around the
Aw.
whole community as far as coins go. A lot of people don't even realize that I watch their stuff because half the time I don't comment on anything. If I
Frostbyte's
do, it's
in there
usually
just giving memberships.
it's hello, hello everybody, and that's the only comment I'll say all night.
Yeah.
Uh,
There are so many people in those Facebook groups, and I know because I used to be one. For the when I first started on Facebook, I didn't say a word. I just sat back and I read. I found out real quick who knew what they were talking about.
yeah,
I was able to find that out because I would see certain people post like a word that meant nothing to me, and then I would go research that. So I found people that knew what they were talking about. Chuck, Ken, Chris Rhodes, like Pete Apple, certain people that I just knew stuff.
right.
And I would start watching when they would make comments in people's posts. And that's how I learned a lot of what I knew in the beginning. It gave me a really good foundation. So there are a lot of people in those posts who don't say anything. They just sit
There's
back
a lot
and
more
they
than you
watch.
realize that
Yeah,
look at
a
those
lot more
posts.
than people realize. They
I
just
communicate with a couple rather experienced coin collectors. I'm not going to say the
mm-hmm.
N word because I always butcher it.
Numismatists.
Numismatics.
Numismatists.
Numismaticist.
Yeah, whatever.
Numismatics.
Close enough. And they look at those posts because I'll get a Facebook message from them saying, "Hey, did you see this? Blah blah blah. It's laughable or whatever." And then you go and you look, and yeah, and then sometimes the posts just disappear because I think the people realize that what they're saying is not correct. I think some
Oh,
people,
they will delete.
yeah,
They will delete their post.
and
Yes.
this is before people have told them anything. I think they find
Mhm.
out real fast. They're like, "Oh my God, I made a mistake" or whatever,
Yeah.
and they do it. And those are the people that are worth helping usually.
Yep.
But then there's the ones that are like, their first reply is, "Hey, I know what I have, and I'm not selling it to you."
Mm-hmm.
All right, Red Silver. He
Oh
said,
So
my
screw it.
gosh.
I'm not getting a
He
gifted
finally just got
membership.
himself a membership.
Thanks for the
I
membership,
finally.
brother. It makes me laugh because I've been trying for, God,
I know.
5 months. It's like, I know you have them turned off. You have to. Well, thank you for the membership, man. I
that is
appreciate that.
probably it because I have found out
Yeah.
last week I got 3 memberships
Hey, good
to
morning,
channels
Chuck.
that I don't subscribe to,
Mm-hmm.
like the NASA experiment, and it's run by NASA.
Yeah, you don't even have to be in there. If
Yeah,
you
and I get a membership for it.
Here's the problem. I get memberships.
Steve.
I get memberships now to people that I am no longer subscribed to, that I do not want memberships to their channels.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
because
I
you were
think
in their
that
channel at one
enable it.
time.
It
It's
even
because
gives
I
you
was in their
memberships.
channel at one time.
Yeah.
So, but, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I have gone in and turned off membership things, but then I don't get them to channels that I want them. So now I think, well, if I'm getting a membership to their channel, it means somebody else isn't.
So
So,
you have to go into one of their videos one time, and then you can get a membership. Is that what you just said?
yes.
All right,
As
that
long as you
explains
have,
because it's
as
like,
long as you have membership gifting turned on,
yeah, I just got three
that's
memberships
good for
from
any channel that you, yeah, any
one
channel
was
that you have.
Neil deGrasse or whatever, the physicist.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In NASA, it was all space oriented because I got pulled in by clickbait by what did the Voyager see when it went over, proof of aliens, and then they don't tell you anything after you watch it. Got sucked into that. It's just like the Bigfoot photos. I'm still waiting.
That's funny.
Hey, Chuck, I just emailed you a link if you want to come up and say howdy.
Oh, is Chuck in the chat?
Chuck is in the
He
vertical.
must be on the phone chat. I don't see him.
Oh, he's in the
Yep.
report.
He says, getting ready
I'm
for
gonna
a
go
number of
grab
shows today. I cannot come up.
Well, we'll see you there, Chuck.
No worries.
Party pooper.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you in the reveals today. Are you doing the game?
No, he's doing a 43p. Let's see what he's doing. I had him all down.
That's something else, folks. If you're not subscribed to
doing
Copper Coins, go make sure you're subscribed to Copper Coins. Go check out some of the reveals. He does some really fun game stuff.
But 43p, that'll be an interesting roll.
That'll be a fun one to do. Yeah.
Well, Chuck, while you're listening, I want to personally take this time to thank you for going back into that post and posting those pictures and everything else that you did last night on that 21D, because that person who complained or said all that bullcrap doesn't matter. The other people in that thread that read that great information that you shared are the ones that mattered. So I want to thank you for doing that, because I think you shut a lot of people up.
He's doing a 43p, a 50s, a 52D, and a 52s, I think, maybe even more.
Yeah, good.
Steve Lapointe, thank you for the membership. You made me laugh. I got sidetracked when I seen Chuck come on, but yeah, both him and Red became members. You guys make me laugh. I appreciate all the support you two. I really do.
I didn't see that Chuck got one. That's
no,
funny.
Steve Lapointe.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, he was like, fine, I'll do it too. I think they have the gifted memberships turned off. But yeah,
it doesn't matter. It's so random that it really doesn't matter. I've seen people in a I'll just Michael Kittle's gaming chat, when he's playing games. I see people get memberships in his channel that are never, like, I'm a moderator in there, that I've never seen.
Yeah.
So it's so random.
Now, what was I going to? Darn, I hate when that happens. Oh well, it's gone.
Interrupted.
So Red Silver with the $5 super chat. Thanks, but I appreciate you praying for Tiger and that cup of coffee challenge. That's
right.
I appreciate it. Thanks for all the support. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that 1943p.
I always love it. I love that stuff, and
I hope that they're not dogs.
No, I don't. They looked pretty good. It was a plastic roll, so you can kind of see.
Is it you opening it or
no,
Chuck?
Chuck's opening it.
Chuck is, okay.
Yeah.
When is that today?
Bears.
Yeah, I think that's the first roll he's doing today. I don't know if he's still in chat. He should know.
No,
Let's see if it's scheduled.
I gotta go.
Nope, it's not scheduled up yet. So
Oh, okay, then I can't put my notification on. Come on, Chuck. I gotta
But
go
yeah,
to church.
if you guys like Lincoln Sense and you want to kind of understand what they're looking for, watch and then feel free to ask questions because he's very good about going through and breaking down what exactly did you see, and don't be afraid to ask. Right, that's one thing that with any of these,
Yep.
don't be afraid to ask. It's like, hey, I'm not seeing, and ask Eric, how many times have I told you? Okay, hold on, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, I don't see the doubled eye list.
Yeah, and it's like, show me
Mhm.
exactly what we're looking at, right? So don't be afraid to ask. It's not a problem
And
because
the odds are, 10 other people in
yep,
that chat have the same question as you. They
that's
just
Yep.
exactly where I
don't
was
want
going.
to ask
Even
it. So.
though I can't stand you, I joined anyway. Love you, Steve. Thanks, brother.
Southern Coin Hunter. You need to bring that up in Chuck's chat and let him explain that to you. That actually is not it's okay. I'm not going to say it's not because it is possible that you could have a die that has a filled 4. But there is another cause for that.
That's
That
right.
is common on all the mints. On all of the 43s from Philly, Denver, and San Francisco. So if you go into his when he's opening that and bring that question up to him, he can talk about that. That's a good topic because it's a common thing to see.
That's a great catch in the comment there, Paula. So Chuck said 1943 at 1 Eastern, 50S at 2 Eastern, 52 Denver at 3 Eastern, and 52 San Francisco at 4 Eastern. So the couple hours good lineup. And again, if you guys haven't gone over and checked out Copper Coins and watched them do that, it's really cool to be able to look through. And I'll tell you, there's not too many people who know Lincoln Sense better than that guy. So make sure you take some time, go over, watch a couple of his videos, comment. And if anybody in chat, if you're looking vertical mode or horizontal mode, is looking for a really good video on the 1982, he's got a great video that really succinctly breaks it down and talks about what's special about that 1982 cent and what to look
Wow.
for.
Speaking of that, I
So,
haven't got a 1982 email in months.
yeah.
Lucky you.
Yeah. There's still a
Yeah,
ton of them
I
out
was
there,
just
but
thinking about that.
We have videos up there about those too.
yeah, I know you do. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying it's a very,
Amanda
very
did a
well
couple
done
really
video.
great videos on
He
them.
did a very great job on that. So,
Yeah. But yeah, if you don't catch it, it'll be recorded just for you, Southern Coin Hunter. So I'll try to remember. So that's, you said he said 1 o'clock for the 43
Yep.
Eastern?
yep,
Yes.
12, 11.
you'll be in church.
So what?
Will you
Yeah,
be in
I
church?
will. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, shoot.
Oh,
Well, somebody, Chuck, are you still there? Talk about that, the 4. And now there's a couple different theories on that. There's a die basoning theory, and there's a couple different theories. But if you think about it, because it's found on all 3, grease filled die is probably not the one that makes the most sense because it's so common from all 3 mints
It
that
is.
it almost has to be something else, or does have to be something else. So
yeah, it's 12 my time too, Southern Coin Hunter. There was a comment
Chuck,
and I
bring
skipped it.
that
Hold
up.
on.
Talk about that. Maybe he'll probably find one that's either weak or
It's a very good possibility
yeah.
there'll be some.
It's a very good possibility. So if you do, or even if you don't, try to talk about that because I love that. Like I love talking about that because people for so long thought that it was a struck through grease issue. And that's one of the things that we talked about, how information can evolve over time as people learn more and actually see process
Yep.
happening. And so
Chuck says it's usually die where you get when you're striking steel coins with steel dice.
There you go.
Yeah, and
So
Eric Matt says Eric B is no slouch either.
Well, thank you, Eric.
Yeah, he's no slouch. I like that guy a lot.
He's got good posture.
He's got good posture.
Oh,
Especially when he's lounging on the beach.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
Actually, I was at a pool
Oh,
in that picture, pool bar in Key West.
You know, I've gotten 3 or 4 comments about the thumbnail that I used today. The people are like, I like that thumbnail. The one of the 3 of us.
Oh,
well,
yeah. You wouldn't know that's me, and I'm okay with that because I don't want people knowing I hang out with these 2 guys.
Anybody who knows,
just saying, it ruined my reputation.
Anybody who knows you knows that's you.
Yeah, they know you got friends in low places.
I got friends in low places.
All I have to say is clicky the linky, and everybody who's ever done that knows exactly who that unicorn is.
Oh gosh, I'm so glad we got rid of that.
You can't get rid of it. It's etched in our.
It's forever.
That was and I understood the purpose behind it, but that was after like a quarter of a day. It was like, oh my God, please no more.
Well, and I was there for the entire thing.
Yeah. It's like, please no more clicky the linky. Oh my God, that was
Silver keys
painful. Too much fun. But yes, Chuck, I'll see you at noon. I'll be over there. I'm really interested to see how things look on that 43p roll.
Yeah.
That'll be a lot of fun. The 52S would be fun too. I think that'll be.
If he doesn't talk about the die basing issue, hit me up sometime on our live stream, and we'll talk about that too. Because, like I said, there's a couple different theories. So, but grease is probably.
They can have grease.
Huh?
They can have structured.
Oh, you can have grease for sure. You can,
yeah.
And it can be a combination of a couple things. But the fact that it is found on all 3 mints, and it's super common. It's more common. Which one? I think it's the Denver that it's not as common to find. I think it's the Denver that it's not as common.
Red Silver has one that was struck through geese.
It's struck through
geese. There you go.
Grease is the word. But that tells you that it's probably a dye issue. That's really all you need to know. Because sometimes you can see it in the mint. It affects the mint mark also. So if you follow that line around the perimeter, well, it's not really. Is it really a line? It's not a straight line. It's a circular line. If you follow that, whatever, that mint mark falls right in line to where that would happen. That basoning.
Never seen SGT. Vote for Pedro.
Caused from dyewear.
Vote for Pedro says SGT stacking. If we ever run out of tanks, we'll just strap a turret to that dude.
He's a Marine, huh? There you go. He's a tank. Nice.
Haven't ever seen SGT. I got a package I got to send him. I don't
know who that is.
I got some of my stickers in. You guys want to? Oh, I don't know if I'll be able to show this. I got something going out. I want you guys' opinion on this.
Listen, I have seen some airmen that are tanks also, so it is not. Don't believe the rumors out there.
Do you guys like this?
Frostbyte.
That's my new sticker.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice.
That is nice.
I got that one, and then this one.
We need something. We need a complete. We need a complete.
This
overhaul.
one you can't see very well.
Oh, I love those.
The prism.
It's got the little kind of magic man
hologram.
Juggling coins, and it says where the stories are told. So, I've got
would
some of those
like
that are going to be going out to some people.
email some photos for discussion. Sure, you can do that, Southern Coin Hunter. Absolutely, yeah. Shoot an email over. It may not. It probably won't be this Monday, unless you
Oh,
bring it
wow.
up in chat. Then we could talk about it. But Amanda's already got the slides done. We now do our emails on Thursdays as a group because that gives us more time to get the slides done before Monday. So most, if not all, of the coins that we show on the live show are picked on Thursdays.
And if they're going to be on the show, you email them and let them know.
Yes, yeah, we will let you know.
Yeah.
But if you bring it up in the chat, so this is not next week is our just chat only. The final so but we will probably, I don't think we have a ton of coins in the lineup for tomorrow, so we will probably have time to talk about it.
Morning, Jack.
Jack Goldman, good morning.
From Marion, North Carolina.
Yeah,
Well, very cool. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up a little bit earlier today. I've got a couple of things I need to get taken care of.
Yeah, I got to get going. I got to get ready for church
So
anyways.
I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up a little bit early. You got Coin Crew here in about 30 minutes. Go check them out and say howdy. Let them know that I sent you over. And then again, go check out Chuck here at noon Central.
Next weekend.
Say again?
I think I'll be missing next weekend.
Okay.
I'm supposed to go possibly to a baby shower for my son's child.
Oh, so, yeah. That's a little bit more important than talking about coins with me.
It all depends on the weather.
Yeah. So Southern Coin, I got to do the same thing. I got to finish my yard work. So I got to edge my yard and sweep before I get something with my HOA. So, all right, Eric. Well, thank you for coming up. Appreciate you, bud. I think you jumped out a little bit preemptive. But again, folks, I appreciate all you do. Thank you so much for coming out and hanging out with me. Again, Red Silver, you made me laugh. Thank you for the membership, Steve LaPointe. Same to you. Vote for Pedro. Glad you got to hang out with SGT. That's really cool. And again, don't forget to go over and check out Copper Coins and check out that 43p roll. Ask questions. Ask lots of them. Remember, the only stupid question is the one that you wanted to ask that you didn't. So make sure you ask lots of questions. Enjoy yourselves. Be well, be blessed. And I will see you in the streams. Take care.